Hey, welcome back, everybody. Thanks for joining us for another episode of In the Chute. I'm Brandon Carpenter, and with me is my oldest son, Kalen. What do you got for us today, Kalen?
Sorry, my light is still whitewashed. We'll figure it out eventually. It'll autocorrect, I guarantee it. And for this round, the next question you actually brought it up because I had not thought about it. But we do tend to not celebrate holidays, birthdays, and anniversaries like most people. And I mean, sometimes it's beneficial because I'm not really a party person. But other than that, like it's nice to recognize things. So what were you thinking when you were asking me that? Like, what are some of our unique ways of celebrating that you've kind of thought of?
Well, I guess what brought it up is, this is the day after Valentine's Day.
Mm-hmm.
And so we, your mom and I spent Valentine's Day um, feeding cows and horses. You
Hmm.
know,
Romantic.
it's so cold. It's brutal cold out there right now. And, so we're feeding cows and it's taking a lot longer to do it, and feeding some horses, looking everything over, and I'm checking water, and we pull through, and of course she's in the comfort of the driver's seat of the pickup because what am I going to do, make her get out and you know kick hay around? And
Yeah.
well, yeah, and that's how you don't stay married for 30
Oh,
some
okay. That's why I'm
years.
still single. Okay, I got it.
Yeah, that's the secret to it, is I get to
Uh,
do all of the tough stuff. But yeah, and then she pulls up and in front of the the gas tank, storage tank, says, I think we need to fill the pickup. I think you're right. And so we're doing all of this mundane stuff that you just do every day. It's got to be done. And so that's how we spent Valentine's Day together. And come home, and then I fixed her a steak, and I'd picked up some crab legs, that were on sale on the couple days before, and I had them stuck away and in a freezer. So I mean, it's not like we're going out to dinner somewhere, and we've been able to do that, but um, that's just, you just don't go very far. I mean, you got animals to take care of. That's your first priority. And so uh, birthdays, uh, Christmas, if we can spend time together at Christmas time, you get to come home. Your brother's not fighting fire at that time of the year, and we just get to just be together. I mean, we played a lot of cards and
Drink beer.
some uh, cribbage, and drank beer and drank some whiskey, and we just spend time together. It's That's what it's about, really, when it comes down to it. It's more of the simpler things, and I think you appreciate it more than I'm going to buy you a new vehicle for your birthday or something. Yeah, but it's they're all like that. Whether it's Fourth of July, what do you got going on? If you're haying, or you're trying to put hay in, Fourth of July is spent working, doing that.
Yeah.
It's all relative to working in little celebrations around the normal workplace. And uh, if you're working a horse and they needed time off, you might be able to just turn them loose for a day or two, during a holiday when you're going to go try and do something. But we'll maybe take a half a day off, or like yesterday. This cold, we're not doing much anyway, other than just spending as much time as we need to get things fed. And I think we got home, but walked back in the house. I think it was about 3:30, something like that, in the afternoon. I was like, I'll take the rest of the day off. So I fixed a meal, and then we, watched some TV and went over plans and things like that. So
Yeah, and I would
it's
agree with that too, because I mean, we're kind of in a unique situation because I'm gone 99% of the year, but just being around each other, I think, is kind of the big thing. Is um uh nothing flamboyant or super exciting to most, but for us that's a big deal. Is, hey, everybody gets to be in one place at one time.
yeah.
And this was actually something I was thinking of talking about in a different episode, but I think it just ties in better. Is this is also a reason why we really don't go on a lot of long, I mean, we can go on vacations. We did it on occasion um when I was growing up, but especially long vacations. Like, we're gone, when we went, you and mom gave me and Braden some great opportunities growing up to go to Williamsburg, Virginia, and see like the colonial Williamsburg. And then as I was going into my senior year in high school, I got the great opportunity to see Washington D.C., and we actually spent a week there, which was impressive. And that's kind of
Yeah.
where I'm getting at. Is, you know the length of the vacation. Some people might be able to take off, a week to 10 days. Normally our vacations are, they're it's a travel, because here's the other thing too. We're in Montana. So and it's the same thing when I go on leave. I have a travel day coming in and a travel day going out. And I know those are washes. And then everything in between is great because
Right.
it's just the way it is. It takes even from major locations like where I'm at in Louisville. Louisville is actually a pretty good spot. Nashville too. Normally I have to get two connections just to get there. If I can get
Yeah.
one connection, figure out a way to get one connection and I go straight from here to Minneapolis and then over, or here to Detroit and over, I am in heaven. Those are the great ones. But normally it's a two connection thing and I'm dealing with 3 flights and I stress over the time, and I know mom does too. But just
Oh
trying to
yeah.
make sure get everywhere, and it's that thing. And then on top of it, okay, now I get to enjoy my time. And for you guys, it's going away from home. For me, it's coming to home. But that the fact that vacation typically is only a couple days, and it's very short stints, and it's okay, all the fun together, and then we're out. And then
Yep.
same thing with like summer times. I never went boating with anybody until I was out of high school. I went with my best friend and his family for a couple of days. I was like, oh, this is fun. Why don't we do this? And then you like looked at me like, think about it, knucklehead. And I'm like, yeah, you're right. We can't do that every weekend. Like we got stuff to do. Kind of like you're saying, 4th of July, you might, what would be great is friends come. Hey, everybody bring like a couple 6 packs of beer or bring a fifth of whiskey or something like that. Or for the ladies, bring some, wine and whatnot. But normally it's, hey, let's all come together for a day or two. And then everybody just disperses again and goes back and does their thing at home or on their own ranch or on their own
Right.
farm or something like that.
Right. No, and when you're traveling like that, either coming to or from, usually when you're going to someplace, you know when you're leaving. But because of where we are with our remoteness, you kind of give yourself at least another day of
Yep.
travel in case something happens.
Yep.
So you're always cutting it short by a day because you don't know whether or not, you're going to be able to get there on time or not. So you always shorten that end of that by at least a day for travel, in case you get bumped or something goes on, or weather or whatever. But yeah, when we took you guys back east, it was a couple of times, and actually I think we went to California once when you were
Mm-hmm.
pretty little.
Yep.
Grandpa was alive and he took care of things, but we had to make arrangements. I took any of the horses that we had here that were being trained. I took them to the ranch
Right.
and dropped them off, turned them out, and then we had somebody watching the house, living here, as a house sitter for a week. Or if we couldn't, get it done and it was no big deal, then I'd stack up hay and give them instructions. This is all you got to do. This is how you check the water to make sure it runs. And there's, you give them this much hay and kick it out right here.
Throw some money to
And
some high school boys, like, hey, throw, so much to the horses, make sure they got water,
yeah,
stuff like that.
right. And then a list of numbers in case something goes wrong. Call me first.
Mm-hmm.
This is who else you would call. I mean, it's a, and I think everybody else probably does that too if they're going somewhere. But the stakes are a little higher. I mean, you can have animals die in the summertime in a couple of days,
Yep.
so with no water. So it's not like it's not easy. It's easy to do, but it's in another way it's hard to get away and feel um,
Comfortable.
comfortable. Is probably a good word. Yeah, non-guilty about not taking care of my animals, or that you're worried constantly something's gone wrong, that that you got to be there to fix. So there's always that too. But no, it's we spend a lot of anniversaries, birthdays working.
Yep.
Not so much for you in the February's your birthday month, so that's pretty low key. But there was always sporting events when you guys were in college or in high school.
Yep.
We're always usually you were wrestling somewhere,
Mm-hmm.
um, or right after wrestling, and
I was gonna say
Braden's
my
his name.
birthday was kind of perfectly timed because I ended up using the end of state wrestling as my celebration because that's when I started getting fat. Because then I had about 10 days before before my birthday, and I was just eating cake and eating ice cream and all sorts of good food.
That you hadn't had in the previous 3 4 months. Yeah,
Yeah, yeah,
yeah. Well, and uh, mom's got a birthday in January, so it's right after Christmas, and that's kind of a
right.
bummer. But if we can go out and go to the biggest thing probably is if we can go to dinner,
Mm-hmm.
go out and have dinner somewhere is usually the biggest celebration we can probably do.
Well, and for
And
me, it's breweries. Like you get to kind of cater to whoever likes their things. Like normally,
yeah,
grandpa and grandma would be like, "Hey, where do you want to go to eat?" And now that I'm at the age where I can drink, it's a lot of the times it's, hey, what brewery have we not tried? Let's all go there now because that's my
It has
thing.
food.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, that's true. That's a
Uh,
good point.
yeah.
So yeah, it's something it's just normal life, We don't, of course, your mother, when she always wants to do for you guys, I call it week long extravaganzas, with your around your birthday. It's like she's always wanting to do something. And it's usually, this meal for this, and then, oh, we're going to get them this for their birthday day. And then you might have a card going up for the pre birthday. Your
Hmm.
mother's just nuts about stuff like that. So it's funny. I always give her a bad time about it being a week long extravaganza.
Yeah. Well, now it's kind of like I've told mom before too. With me being as separated as everybody, it's like, hey, save the money and use it as a trip to come visit me. That's that in itself is its own thing too. Like we were talking about, it's just going to see people. Now, and that's the other thing too is like being away from you. It's a lot easier for me responsibility wise to just pick up and go to where you're at versus you
Yeah.
coming here. So again, it's back to coordination, getting things ready, having people who are reliable to take care of stuff, and you get it all set up to you get to come see me for like 4 or 5 days, and you're like, okay, now we got to go see you.
Yeah. Well, I know, like when I brought your pickup down to you, that
Yeah,
wasn't like it was celebrating. I mean, it kind of was because you got back from Afghanistan, which was way
yeah,
great, and brought your pickup to you, then helped you move in. We went to some breweries and had some whiskey and had a couple of good meals, and then threw me on an airplane and I come home.
yep. Three
Your
days
mom
later.
was here. Yeah, yeah. She was here to, kind of hold the fort down, and it was in the fall, so we are kind of between any major things. I'd got all the hay in. I think the biggest deal is I was still finishing up, training a horse or two, and
Hmm.
and I'd worked that out to where they needed some time off, so I kicked them out in the pasture and let them have some time, and so it worked out. But yeah, it's all about coordinating around everything else. Really
Yeah,
is.
I'll tell you what, that's probably a life skill right there that I learned. I would bet probably from events like that, but other things too is just coordinating things. It's not always just about what you're doing. It's all the things that go into what you want to do. Like, okay, now let me make sure I get like may not be necessarily a step by step process, but laying out, okay, these are the things. Oh, this needs to get done because this needs to get done. Okay, let me start backtracking here. That's a
Yeah,
process.
it's the old when the butterfly flaps its wings, it causes a tidal wave type of thing, right?
Yep. Yep. Exactly. Well, I think with that, we'll put it out to pasture.